Ladies and gentlemen, after 5 years, he is back. I want to make a review of the first episode of The Ones Who Live and give you my honest opinion on it. Please take in mind that I'm going to be talking about what happened in the Walking Dead show and in the new spin-off which just came out, so spoilers ahead. Seeing that Rick Grimes and Michonne are finally coming back to our screens was, for a lot of fans, myself included, surprising after such a long time and so many postpones. Also, they wanted to make a trilogy of movies, then making just one, but this was amazing. For this day to finally be here, it feels like a fever dream, honestly. It exceeded all of my expectations and expectations of the fans watching the ratings of the show so far. With 11 seasons of the main show and 6 different spin-offs, it might be confusing jumping back into the Walking Dead universe. For a lot of you that stopped watching the show a while back or just haven't watched anything and got their attention to it after seeing the Ones Who Live teaser, it will be confusing, but don't worry, because I have a quick recap following Rick's and Michonne's journey so far. I'm going to explain it to a degree that everybody can understand. The best way to start for us would be introducing the two leads of the show, Rick Grimes and Michonne. Rick and Michonne were both the main members of our center group of characters in The Walking Dead. Rick was the full-on leader and Michonne for a while was one of Rick's right hand until they eventually settled down, fell in love together, and decided to live there happily ever after. Since it was nearly impossible in a world full of zombies, but also in a war with the group called Saviors led by Negan. Eventually, Rick beats Negan, but spares him, ending a war that really only lasted a couple of weeks, but for us in the real time was 2 years. This war had a lot of casualties, including Rick's son Carl that he had with his first wife Lori. After the war, there is a time jump of a year and a half. Michonne is now a mother of Judith, who is also a daughter of Lori, but it's not the biological daughter of Rick, which is not important because Rick takes her as 100% his daughter, but it's good knowing. So Rick after the war is now the leader of several different communities and tries to hold peace and balance in all of them. On an unlucky day, Rick falls from his horse and gets impaled by a piece of rebar, and there is of course a horde surrounding him. He frees himself, starts having different hallucinations as he makes his way to a newly built bridge by his communities. As Rick realizes that this horde is much bigger than they can handle, Rick decides to blow himself up with the whole bridge, stopping the walkers from reaching his community. All of his friends and family are watching how he sacrifices himself. Without anyone knowing, he washes ashore downstream, and a woman named Jadis tells a helicopter that he is a B person, even though she promised them a A person. So the woman that found Rick, called Jadis, was firstly introduced into The Walking Dead in season 7, with her group of scavenger people, which was later on killed by one of Negan's right-hand man, called Simon. We now later on finally find out that she has become completely loyal to the CRM, and she truly believes that the CRM is the last light in the world and that they must be allowed to succeed in their plans. 6 years pass after Judith is all grown up and Michonne had a kid with Rick that he has no idea and named him RJ, short for Rick Jr. Rick's best friend Daryl spent the whole time looking for his body, but he didn't find anything, nor Michonne or anyone who looked. Michonne goes on a search mission for him and runs into a man called Virgil. Virgil takes her to an offshore island where she discovers Rick's boots and drawings of Judith and her on an old iPhone with some Japanese writings on it. It was never confirmed what the writings meant, but the community translated to "believe a little longer," which then got confirmed in the Ones Who Live trailer. Michonne radios Judith, gets encouraged by her to keep looking, so she leaves and finds a group of people in New Jersey, where she helps them and walks toward a traveling caravan of people. And that was her last episode. At the season finale, we also got another glimpse of Rick in his scene where he writes a note, puts it into a bottle and throws it into the water, which happened at a different time than Michonne's last episode. Rick also throws his bag into a boat, the very same boat that eventually sailed down the shore and allowed Michonne to find all of his belongings. We go back to her, showing her in a new set of armor, all Rick's possessions except the note, Rick threw into the water, and she goes to face an army of walkers. Rick surrenders to the helicopter, and through a voiceover we hear, "There is no escape for the living." It is important that during the whole timeline skips, Rick disappeared nearly a decade ago, where the survivors were just 3 years into the apocalypse, and Michonne has been gone for about 2 years now. These were the main events that led both of our main leads into the spin-off The Ones Who Live, which we are now ready to move into. We got a bunch of questions answered. Like for example, are you a B or an A person? What was Rick doing the whole time? Why wasn't he able to escape? Most importantly, where he is? I went to this episode expecting it to be a B, but it turned out to be an A. Yes, pun intended. The whole pacing of the episode was really good. The camera shots were beautiful. Andrew Lincoln still shows me how good of an actor he is, and Rick is still one of the best TV show's protagonists ever. We start the episode with Rick trying to slit his own throat. Honestly, this first episode was shocking and was better than the last season of The Walking Dead, which speaks volumes. There was a lot of new information we have to go through. We already know that the next episode we are going to see the Michonne's side of story, looking for her lost husband. Overall, great fucking episode. Definitely, there was a lot of moments where I was hyping everything up and looking in complete shock. The ending was definitely heartwarming, and I do get why a lot of people cried. I honestly expected the reunion of Rick and Michonne in the first episode, and I really loved that it happened. The main things we learned in this first episode are that Rick was already living and working 5 years for the community that they took him into. This newly introduced community welcomes everyone into the city for slave work, like killing walkers, which was Rick doing at the start of this episode, and was doing now for 5 years. After working this kind of job for 6 years, you are allowed to become a proper civilian. After so many theories, we already saw how Rick lost his hand, and indeed, the ones who said that it was a way to escape, you were right. We learn that Rick already tried to escape 4 times, and he went to the extremes where he cut his wrist off to free himself from a leash he was tied onto during one of his walker killing duties. Rick cutting his arm off, I don't know if it was intentional, but I really felt like it was a parallel to Negan forcing him to cut off Carl's hand in the beginning of season 7. And I honestly loved it. The whole theme of the episode was how he only wants to return back home to his family and how he was not able to do it. The whole CRM, or Civic Republic military, which is the community in this series, was only tolerating Rick's escapes because he had friends higher up in the ranking, and exactly the one we got introduced called Okafor. After Rick lost his hand, we do see him go through a military training to become a soldier, and he got his hand replaced with a steel or metal one, I'm not sure honestly, having a hidden blade feature like in Assassin's Creed games. The man called Okafor was Rick's sort of a guardian, which saw his potential and wanted to make him a great leader to change the whole way of doing things in this settlement. That is exactly why they need to make Rick a person, to free him from the public duties, send him to fight in the army, and to give him secret informations which the civilians in the city don't know about. So B is not a fighter. B person lives a normal life in the Philadelphian city, so kind of weaklings, and A are the soldiers, keeping order and everything. No one is allowed to escape because the CRM is very strict in keeping this whole community a secret, which goes to extremes that not even their other communities in different cities know where exactly are they located. From the main lead we met Okafor, which stood out as a semi-bad guy for bombing LA, Atlanta, and killing 4,000 soldiers in the process for the greater good, saving this ideal of having the biggest surviving military on the world. Major Bill seems alright so far, but I have a feeling he will do some horrible things later on. Thorn, Rick's new friend, which is supposed to change the way of doing things with him, is a really nicely written side character so far. The more I think about the episode, the more I realize how perfect the reintroduction of Rick was. After so many things he went through, he reasonably starts losing hope at some point, diving into his dreams to seek comfort of seeing his wife again with the thought that he failed and will not see her again. Just a moment after Rick burns the remaining stuff, giving him hope. On the next mission, next day, the helicopter which he was traveling in got attacked. Everyone died, he was the only survivor, and of course the attacker was Michonne. So the moment they reunite leaves both of them completely speechless. I really loved the shock on both of their faces, because holy shit, it was such a long time since they haven't seen each other. Overall, the dreams Rick was having about Michonne were also so lovely, and it showed me how much their love is pure and honest. I honestly can't wait to see the next episode. And I know that we still have a week to wait for it, and I'm really sad that it's only going to be 6 episodes, because I don't think they can cover so many things in that period. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, I think we covered every key important detail. I can't wait to see more of this, and I really believe that this will be the best spin-off Walking Dead can give us, because fucking hell, Rick Grimes is back, you know, like he was the main character in all of the seasons. We know that he is the main protagonist, and I honestly just love his character so much. Let me know in the comments if you saw the whole Walking Dead, if you just saw The Ones Who Live because teaser was appealing. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know if I should do a more detailed video of the upcoming episodes, where we not just talk for a couple of minutes about the key important details, but maybe the hidden stuff we missed also. If you do not believe in the spin-offs anymore, I'm pretty sure that this one will change your mind. Hope you like it, and see you in the next video. Bye bye.